I'm a little thrown off that he is not, Mexican. But...
Well, Bane wasn't Mexican per se, he was South American.
Yeah, but still, to cast a Scottish guy, I don't know. I'm not usually the guy to use this kind of word, but I do hate it when they whitewash things. Because I just watched one of the cartoon movies, Mysteries of the Batwoman, and my favorite moment in that was when Bane busts out of a crate and he's like, "Hello, Senor Batman." It was so badass. And now they're going to have, Tom Hardy, which I'm sure he'll do a great job, but no Senor Batman. And if it does, it'll feel phony because, Scottish.
I really don't know anything about this actor's acting roles other than Inception, and which is, I guess, is another thing that people were complaining about Anne Hathaway is she's too mainstream. She hasn't been in any artsy kind of films like Tom Hardy has been in, apparently. Because all I've seen of his is Inception.
Oh my gosh, really? They're saying that?
Mm-hmm.
Of Anne Hathaway? Well, they haven't read her filmography then. She's been in some stuff. Well, the thing is, Christian Bale was mainstream. He was in Newsies.
I don't know. I didn't know who Christian Bale was before Batman Begins.
Maybe my parents owning a video store have biased me. But whenever I see him, like the first time I saw him on screen, and it's like, oh, hey, Christian Bale. I was singing Santa Fe, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's what I had in my head when I saw Christian Bale. So I don't know if, Anne Hathaway has, screw
But
them.
I mean, regardless of Christian Bale, he had Michael Caine in there. He's a very mainstream actor in both America and in Great Britain. So, that's two countries. And then you had Liam Neeson, who was the exact same, two countries. So it's not like they haven't had mainstream actors in the movie before.
See, to me, that sounds patronizing. It sounds like people are like, oh, it's a superhero movie? Oh, Christopher Nolan took Batman out of the darkness and brought it into the light. Now they're just bringing all these mainstream people. It's like, newsflash, Batman is the most mainstream hero out there. If you hipster bastards are complaining because she's too mainstream, then read a comic that isn't Batman, because that is the most mainstream you can get and read comic books.
Yeah, people obviously don't know how mainstream of a comic book character Batman is. Most people that read comic books will make fun of you if you're reading Batman, if you're reading Superman, if you're reading Spider-Man.
Because it is. It's like people who do that are the guys who are like, oh, look at me, I read comic books. Like, really? Oh, wow, you found Batman? Remember all the cartoons they made in the 90s? Those started with Batman because he's the most mainstream. Remember that show in the 60s they had? That was about Batman? It's like he's the one with the most cultural awareness. You can't be claiming hipster status because you read Batman.
Maybe if you're making like a Booster Gold kind of movie or something there. Yeah, he's a bit, lesser known, shall we say.
Yeah, and still awesome. Honestly, if Christopher Nolan went on from Batman to make a Booster Gold movie, I would see that movie.
Yeah, I would watch it.
He might make it too dark and serious, but there's no way I wouldn't see that movie.
So, another thing that people are complaining about is that there's too many villains in this movie. They're afraid it's going to be like Spider-Man 3.
That's the superhero curse, is once you have more than one villain, everything goes downhill and everything gets bad. But the thing is, I'm going to disagree with that, and the reason I feel confident in saying that it's not two villains that spoil the movie is the cartoon movies. Because they have had... Which, okay, maybe the cartoon movies aren't the best, blah, blah, blah. Shut up, they're great movies. And almost all of them have had more than one villain in there. I mean, Mask of the Phantasm is still one of my favorite movies. Like, overall, none of this, cartoon... No, it's one of my favorite movies. And that had Phantasm and Joker. Then you have Red Hood, which came out and was one of the best movies ever. Once again, that one's not my best of all time, but it's one of my best of last year. That had Red Hood and Joker and Black Mask. Yeah, and those movies are great. So it's not adding another villain that's going to make a movie bad.
Well, I'll say this, if people are still kind of just shaking their heads when you're talking about cartoons. Let's take a look at Batman Begins. What did we have here? We had the Scarecrow, and we had Ra's al Ghul. What? That was two villains. Well, there's only two villains confirmed for Batman 3. Victor Zsasz. I mean, he was more or less a glorified cameo appearance, but hell, I'll give you three. So Batman Begins had three villains. Then we're going to move on to The Dark Knight. Who did we have? We had Two-Face, and we had the Joker. But, the Scarecrow made a cameo in the beginning of that film, so I'll give you 3 there. You had 3 for The Dark Knight. So you had 3 in the first 2 movies, which were fucking awesome, and then now you're going to have 2 in the third movie, so I don't see how you can complain that there's going to be too many villains, when it's 1 less than the first 2 films.
That's a good point, because I guess you're right, because Ra's al Ghul was the main, but they had Scarecrow. Yeah, it's just people jumping to conclusions. It's going to be a good movie.
Yeah, I think so too. I can't wait to see it.